Hello my dear students, I welcome you all one more time on my YouTube channel Curious Physics. Today I am going to start the second part of this particular chapter, electromagnetic induction. Okay, in the previous chapter we have learned that you can produce the basic two concepts we have learned. First one was you can produce an electric current when there is a change in magnetic flux, and that the magnitude of induced EMF, or you can say the potential difference, is provided by the change in magnetic flux. When magnetic flux is changing with time, that will create a potential difference across a loop. Okay, and the second we have studied the direction of that induced EMF is given by the Lenz's law. Okay, the next main topic is motional electromotive force. Okay, so the basic concept here, the motional means when you can say you can create or you can say induced EMF can be generated, or potential difference can be generated or generated when a electric conductor is in motion. Okay, this is the basic concept of motional electromotive force. Okay, let's say this is the direction of magnetic field. There is a constant magnetic field in a space. This is a constant magnetic field. Let's say is a constant magnetic field, let's say B, in a space, and this is a conductor. Let's say this is a conductor. Okay, and in this conductor, let's say this particular part, let's say this is P, Q, R, S, and this point may be M and N. Okay, so in this particular you can say loop, the length is L, this length is L, and this length you can say X, this length is X. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? And in this particular case, this particular section PQ, or you can say a PQ rod is moving. With speed V, Okay, if this particular rod PQ, and let's say magnetic field is B, this rod PQ is moving in left hand direction, then magnetic flux is increasing or decreasing. Because area is decreasing, that means to say that magnetic flux is decreasing, and magnetic flux is decreasing within this particular loop PQRS. Then if magnetic flux is decreasing, then according to Lenz's law, there will be an induced current in this particular loop that will try to oppose the effect of decreasing magnetic flux. Okay, so mean to say that the induced current will be produced in such a way that will create magnetic field in the direction of away from you. So the direction of induced current will be, then the direction of induced current will be in this direction, then the induced current will be in this direction. Okay, this is already. Okay, now you can say that the magnetic flux is nothing but B L into X. Magnetic flux is B L into X. Then according to Faraday's law, induced EMF is nothing but minus d phi by dt. we can write, we already know what will be the direction of electric current with the help of Lenge's law. You can say that the motional EMF and all the sections of this particular chapter, the next all the sections related to the Faraday's law and Lenge's law, but the way of study is different. The way of study of particular situation is different, but the basic concept is related to Faraday's law and Lenge's law. Okay, then the induced EMF or the potential difference is minus the value of phi is BLX by dt. Here L is constant and X is changing, or you can say BL minus dx by dt. Then if the X is changing with time, so you can say dx by dt will be minus BLV, and X is decreasing or increasing. X is decreasing, the value of this will come out to be negative, and then you can say negative will positive, then induced EMF will be BLV. Induced EMF will be BLV, and this induced EMF is produced with the help of motion of a conductor. When this particular rod PQ is moving with speed V, you can say that the potential difference can be created. Potential difference can be created, and you can show this induced potential difference, you can show with the help of a battery. This will be the you can say the direction of battery. You can replace how this induced EMF, this is the induced EMF, and the value will be BLV. Value will be BLV. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand my point or not? And what particular point will be at higher potential and what will be at lower potential, you can easily find the direction first with the help of Lenge's law. Here again you can find the value of, you can say direction of higher potential. You can say point of higher potential by direction V cross B. Here V is in left hand direction and B is inside, then according to screw rule V cross B, then the direction of thumb will give the direction of higher potential. The direction of thumb will give the direction of higher potential. If let's say this particular rod PQ is moving in right hand direction, then V cross B will be in above, then the direction of current will be reversed, and in that particular case the direction of current will be basically clockwise. Okay, so you can easily find the value of higher potential first with the help of Lenge's law, because the current will flow from higher potential to lower potential, or you can also find the value of higher potential by not the value but the point, which particular point at higher potential, with the help of V cross B. V cross B, in this case V cross B is mean to say that the Q point is at higher potential, and let's say if V is moving in opposite direction, then the P will be that higher potential and the current will be in opposite direction. In mean to say that in two ways you can find the value of motional EMF, or you can say what point will be at higher potential. First, this is the case. In your books the second method was also given. Let's say the Q charge is passing through this particular PQ wire. Q charge is passing through in a particular wire. Okay, then the force will be, what will be the force? Force will be QVB, and V and B there is a 90-degree angle, so you can directly write QVB, because sin 90 is 1, and this particular charge is moving a distance L, so have to cover the distance L. Then the work done will be QVB into L. L is the length of this particular PQ rod. Then work done per unit length is also QVB, and work done per unit length is nothing but work done per unit length, work done per unit charge. We have to discuss here work done per unit charge will be VBL. V is velocity. Here V is velocity, and work done per unit charge we have discussed in second chapter of this book. Work done per unit charge will be potential or induced, you can say EMF, VBL. You can derive this particular formula by two methods, but the basic conceptual clarity should be there. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, next is this formula always be in your mind, and this particular relation is when the V and B are perpendicular to each other. VBL. Next is a metallic rod of 1 meter length is rotated with the frequency 50 revolution per second, with one end hinged at the center and the other end at the circumference of a circular metallic ring of radius. Circular metallic ring of, this is the, let's say, circular metallic ring. This is the circular metallic ring, a metallic rod, and let's say this is the metallic rod. This is the metallic rod. This is, you can say, point O. You can say this is point O, this is point P, and magnetic field is in at every circumference one about an axis passing through the center and perpendicular to the plane of the ring. A constant uniform magnetic field of 1 Tesla parallel to the axis, let's say in inside direction, then the B is in inside direction. Okay, so here magnetic field is this direction. In this direction, let's say this is the magnetic field, direction of magnetic field. And what is the EMF between the center and the, what is the EMF? Let's say this particular you can say rod OP is rotating with 50 revolution per second. 15 revolution per second mean to say that the frequency is 50 revolution per second. Then you can easily find the value of angular speed, and angular speed is nothing but 2 pi v. Angular speed is 2 pi v, 2 pi into 50. This particular rod, let's say, is moving with omega 2 pi v, and we also know the relation. Let's say this radius is r, and r is nothing but 1 meter. Let's say this particular and we know the relation velocity at, you can say, the speed at a particular point is given by omega into r, and as we move from O to P, you can see that the velocity at every point is changing. At point O the velocity is 0, and at point P velocity is omega into capital R, 2 pi 5 into capital R 1, but at midpoint the velocity is different, mean to say that at every point from O to V the speed is changing, but angular speed is constant. Angular speed omega is constant. Are you able to getting my point or not? If at every point speed is changing, this question can be solved with the help of integration. Let's say a small element dr at a distance small r, from the center O, at this particular length. Here the length is dr, and at point dr velocity, you can say, speed will be omega into r. Okay, then the phi, you can say, magnetic flux will be nothing but magnetic flux will be b. What will be the area? What will be the, here we will discuss. Here the length is, here the length is nothing but, you can say, you can directly use the induced EMF, directly use the formula. The small induced EMF will be nothing but B. length is dr, and V is omega into r. BLV. Now you have to find the value of induced EMF for O to P. Then the value is E is equal to integration of dE, then integration of 0 to r, because r is changing, B omega r dr. After integrating this, you will get induced EMF is nothing but B omega r square by 2, 0 to r, 0 to r. Are you able to understand my point or not? And after applying the limits, you will get B omega r square by 2. It is nothing but the simple, when rod is rotating with a particular speed, with a particular angular speed or a frequency, you have to integrate, or the direct formula, you can remember this formula, B omega r square by 2. Omega is the angular speed, so induced EMF will be, value of magnetic field is, B is given as 1 Tesla, and omega is 2 pi into frequency is I think 50. R is also 1, I think R is also 1 divided by 2, 1 square divided by 2. Then the value will be 2 and 2 will cut each other, 3.14 into 50, which is approximately is 150 volt. Then the potential difference will be in point O and P, and what point will be at higher potential? The direction of V is always in this direction, V, or every point in this direction, V cross B, then the O point will be at higher potential. So you can say that VO minus VP is equal to 150 volt. You can also find the same relation when you change the area. Because the area is changing. Okay, so same result can be found when you change the area. Okay, so I hope you will are you able to understand understand the point or not? Next is a wheel with 10 metallic spokes, each 0.5 meter long, is rotated with the speed of this. So here the frequency is 120 by 60, because I have converted minutes into second, then 2 rps, revolution per second. Then the omega will be angular 2 pi into t, mean to say that 4 pi radian per second, and earth magnetic field is 0.4 into 10 raised to power minus 4 Tesla. You can easily, and r metallic, and the r is radius is 0.5 m. You can easily find the value of potential difference or induced EMF will be B omega r square by 2. Okay, so B is here, B is 0.4 into 10 raised to power minus 4, and omega is nothing but 4 pi, and r square is 0.5 whole square divided by 2. You will get your answer. Okay, here the number of spokes, the number of spokes has you can say no meaning, because all the spokes are parallel, all the metallic spokes are parallel, and in parallel condition the potential difference will remain same. The potential difference or the induced EMF will remain same. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? So the next topic is inductance. Inductance is basically you can say we will use again the laws of you can say Faraday's law and Lenge's law to derive new relations. Mean to say that we will derive alternate ways to find solutions of some questions, or you can say we will make things easier for us by deriving new forms, but new alternate forms. So next one is inductance. Inductance is nothing but you can say we have studied two concepts in chapter 3 and I think chapter 2. The one was capacitor and the second one was resistance. The capacitor and resistance both basically depends upon the geometry and shape of, or you can say the intrinsic properties of that particular materials. In same way, the third particular you can say a circuit, the part of circuit is inductance. Okay, so we know that if you want to produce induced EMF, then you have to change the value of you have to change the magnitude of magnetic flux with respect to time. Mean to say that if magnetic flux is changing with time, then you can produce induced EMF. Okay, and that particular value of magnetic flux is directly proportional to the current, okay. In case of two coils, let's say the first let's remember the first experiment. Let's say you have two coils, let's say this one is first coil and this one is second coil. Let's say this is first and this is second. If you want to produce an induced current in this particular coil, the aim is to produce induced current in your induced EMF in first coil. Okay, so what we have to do, you have to change the magnetic flux, and this magnetic flux is produced by, let's say this particular magnetic flux is produced by this particular coil 2, and magnetic flux in coil 1 is again basically flux is nothing but BA cos theta. And if you want to change the value of flux with respect to time, you can say that if you change the value of current, in coil 2, you can change the flux in coil 1. Or you can say that in this case you can say that phi is directly proportional to I2, and I2 is the current in the coil 2. But in generally, if you want to change the flux, you can simply write phi is directly proportional to I2, or simply you can I. The flux can be changed, flux can be increased or decreased by increasing the value of current and by increasing or decreasing the value of current. Are you able to understand my point or not? And induced EMF, and if there is n number of turns, then n phi is directly proportional to I. And the induced EMF is nothing but minus d phi by dt. Then, or you can say if n number of turns, then this you can replace d phi by dt. So you can say that d phi by dt is directly proportional to di by dt. Are you able to understand my point or not? If you want to change the current, if you want to change the flux, you have to change the current. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? Then this particular, if you want to remove the sign of proportionality, you have to introduce a constant. And that particular constant is nothing but inductor, or you can say inductor and inductance. Are you able to understand my point or not? To remove the, and that particular, if you want to remove, then you have to introduce a constant, and that constant is inductor, and it will create an inductance in a circuit, same as a resistance. Okay, because resistance is produced by a resistor. Okay, and capacitance is produced by a capacitance. So introduce a constant, and that constant is nothing but inductance. Are you able to understand my point or not? And that inductance are two types. One is mutual inductance and second is self inductance. Are you able to understand my point? Mutual inductance is denoted by M and self by L. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, first thing is this. Okay, mutual means one coil produces a you can say flux in second coil. That is mutual. The flux will be created in one coil with the help of second. You can say, for example, in this case, this is the case which we have discussed is mutual inductance. Second is self inductance. Self inductance is change in flux in a coil if you change the current in that particular coil. Because mean to say that in case of self inductance there will be no two coil, only one coil. If you change a current in one coil, then the flux will automatically change. Okay, so the current in one coil is responsible for change in flux in itself. That is nothing but self inductance. That is, we will discuss both mutual inductance as well as self inductance in detail in next section, but the basic concepts are basically this. Okay, so the basic units of self and mutual inductance are Henry, denoted by H, and the dimensional formula is nothing but ML to T minus 2 A minus 2. A basically related to current. This is the basic information about inductance. Inductance. Are you able to understand my point or not? So we will study both the concepts in detail. First one is mutual inductance. First, mutual means there will be two parts. The change in flux in one with the help of second. Are you able to understand my point or not? Let's say we have two solenoids, and solenoid 1 is inserted in second solenoid. Let's say this is a larger solenoid having length L. This is a solenoid. Let's say this is a solenoid 1. This is a solenoid. This is a solenoid 1. Say this is a solenoid. Because why we have taken solenoid? Because we know the results of solenoid, all the results of solenoid, what is the value of magnetic field and all this, and also the magnetic field produced by this particular solenoid is constant. That's why we choose solenoid. This is the solenoid 2, S2, and S2. In case of S2, current I2 is passing through this solenoid. N2 is the number of turns. Okay, and phi2 will be the magnetic flux from this particular solenoid, and L is the length. Okay, we have introduced another solenoid and R2 is the radius of this solenoid. Okay, let's say we have introduced second solenoid of smaller radius inside this solenoid S2. This is solenoid. Inserted this solenoid inside this solenoid S1. Let's say this is S1. This is basically are the, you can say, the various loops or the wire is wrapped on that particular solenoid. This is S1, and the data for S1 is I1 is current passing through, N1 phi1 is magnetic flux, L is the length because both are infinite solenoid, and R1 is radius. R1 is the radius of this solenoid. Okay, so according to inductance, how to introduce, let's say the flux passing through the solenoid S1, flux passing through the solenoid S1, then N1 for S1, the flux passing through S1, N1 phi 1 will be the flux passing through this particular solenoid, is directly proportional to the current passing through, will be the directly proportional to the current passing through solenoid 2. I2 is nothing but the current passing through solenoid 2. We can say N1 phi 1 is directly proportional to mutual inductance of 1 with respect to 2, with respect to 2, I2, with respect to 2, and here you can remove the sign of, proportionality. You can remove the sign of proportionality. So if you N1, you can write N1 phi 1. What is the value of N1? N1 is total number of turns. Then N1, a small n1 is number of turns per unit length. So N1 into L. What will be the value of phi? Phi is nothing but B into A. Because here area vector and magnetic angle between is you can say angle is 0 degree, or you can say 180 degree, but both are parallel. Okay, N1 phi magnetic field due to I2 at the center of this S1, then the magnetic field will be mu naught N2 I2. This magnetic field, this is basically nothing but magnetic field at the center by solenoid 2, by S2. Area will be pi R1 square, Are you able to understand my point or not? If you rearrange the terms, you will get mu naught N1 N2 pi R1 square into I2. Are you able to understand my point? Into L. L is the length into L. Yes, mu naught N1 into pi R1 square L. If you compare, let's say this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. If you compare equation 1 and 2, you will see the M12 can be written as, M12 is nothing but mu N1 N2 pi R1 square L. This particular is known as mutual inductance of coil 1 with respect to 2. Are you able to understand my point or not? And this particular term is only depends upon geometry and shape, and intrinsic properties like mu naught, or you can say intrinsic properties. If this particular solenoid is placed in a particular medium, then M12 will come out to be mu naught mu r N1 N2 pi R1 square L. Are you able to understand my point or not? So this is the mutual inductance of 1 with respect to 2. Now we can also find the value of mutual inductance of 2 with respect to 1. So for solenoid 2, for S2, what will be the value of magnetic flux? Total value will be N2 phi 2, same as N2 phi 2 is directly proportional to I1. And what will be the I1? I1 is nothing but the current passing through the you can say solenoid or coil 1 is directly proportional to, because if the flux passing through in solenoid 2 will be there if there is a magnetic field produced by the solenoid 1. Okay, so you can say N2 phi 2 is equal to M21 I1, same as the above. Value of N2 phi 2 you have to write. N2 phi 2 is nothing but N2 into L, number of turns per unit length into length. Phi 2 magnetic field magnetic field produced by coil 1, then the value will be N1 mu naught, N1 mu naught into I1. Okay, what will be the area? Area will be again pi r1 square, because this is important. Here you cannot write r2. This is important. Why? Because pi r1 is the area. R1 is the area. You can say that particular magnetic field, in this particular area, magnetic field is produced by S1. Magnetic field produced by S1 is not equal to the area in which magnetic field is produced is pi r1, and that particular equal magnetic field is passed on to S1. In case 1, the magnetic field produced by S2 is passed on to area pi r1. That's why in both the cases area will be same. This is basically the point of understanding why there is pi r1, because in both the cases, in first case magnetic field is entering from S2 to S1, but the area is pi r1. In second case, magnetic field starting from pi r1 and entering to S2, so the area will be pi r1 in both, pi r1 square in both the cases. Okay, are you able to understand my point? So you can easily write again. You can easily write mu naught N1 N2 pi r1 square L into I1. So this is the value. If you again compare, then you will get M21 is equal to this value. M21 is equal to this one. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, this is the basic conceptual clarity should be in your mind why we have written pi r1 and all the basically things. So here M12 is equal to M21, we can say M. The value is same. M21 is equal to M12 is equal to M. The value will be same. Are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand point or not? But this is not the case in all times. You have to just focus on how to relate the terms, how to relate all the factors, and what is the inductance, because here you can say that if mutual inductance of a particular coil is given, then you not have to find the value of magnetic flux all the time. You have to just multiply M into I. If you multiply M into I, you will get the value of magnetic flux, because this is nothing but if there are two coils, then you have directly write the value of magnetic flux in coil 1 with respect to coil 2. You have not all the time, you have not to find, you can say calculate the value of magnetic flux, calculate the value of magnetic flux. Are you able to understand my point or not? So here the two concentric, this is a particular example which will increase your understanding, about the concept of mutual inductance, Two concentric circular coils, one of small radius r1 and the other of large radius r2, and the relation is r2 is very large than r1. To mean to say that this is the situation. R1 is the radius of inner coil and R2 is the radius of outer coil. And if R2 is very greater than R1, mean to say that for R2, in this case, mean to say that for R2, R1 is like a point, or if both are concentric, then for R2, R1 is at center. Are you able to understand my point or not? So here then you have to obtain the mutual inductance of the arrangement. You have to find the value of arrangement. If let's say I current is is I current is moving through passing through this R2 coil, then you have to find the value of mutual inductance. Okay, then let's say for coil, this is coil C1 and outer coil is C2. Okay, so if you want to find the value of magnetic flux, if you want to find the value of magnetic flux at center, you have to find, okay, let's say you have to find the value of magnetic field. For magnetic field at center, what will be the value of magnetic field at center? We know that the magnetic field at a center will be mu naught I divided by 2r2, mu naught I divided by 2r2. Okay, r2 is the radius, which this particular result we have discussed, or you can say we have derived when we are doing ampere, when we were doing the Ampere circuital law. We have derived the concept that at the center of a circular loop, the magnetic field will be mu naught I by 2r, mu naught I by 2r. Are you able to understand my point or not? Now the flux passing through this particular point, then the flux will be now the flux passing through coil 1, flux passing through coil 1 is nothing but B into a mu naught I by 2r2 into pi r1 square, and you can say that magnetic flux is nothing but mu naught pi r1 square divided by 2r2 into I. Now phi is directly proportional to I, so you can say that this particular term is nothing but M. Then the mutual inductance will come out to be pi r1 square divided by 2r2. Are you able to understand my point or not? It is easy, because it is easy to find the value of magnetic field at the center. Okay, that's why we have reached this in this particular situation. We have to focus on phi is directly proportional to I, and I is from second coil. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? I have derived the correct relation or not? Mu naught pi r1 square divided by 2r2. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? Next is self-inductance. Self-inductance is nothing but, which we have already discussed. In case of self-inductance, there is only one coil. The change in flux in a coil take place when there is a change in current in the coil. Let's say this is a coil. Okay, if this is a coil, let's say I current is passing through this coil. I current is passing through this particular coil. Okay, and this I current is responsible for the magnetic field inside the coil. I current is responsible for magnetic field inside the coil, meant to say that there will be a magnetic flux, and that magnetic flux now mean to say that if you want to change the magnetic flux inside this particular coil, you have to change the value of current. So indirectly you can say that phi is, or if n is the total number of turns, n phi is directly proportional to I, and if you remove the sign of proportionality, you will get L into I. Are you able to understand my point or not? This is the basic concept. Now focus on N into phi. Is this the same which we have derived in the previous section? And let's say this coil is a solenoid. Long solenoid. Okay, this coil is nothing but a solenoid. Are you able to understand my point or not? This is a solenoid, then the N is nothing but N into L, the total number of turns. The small n is nothing but the number of turns per unit length. Phi Phi is magnetic field. Magnetic field inside the solenoid is nothing mu naught into m into I, and area is nothing but, let's r1 is pi r1 square, or simply you can say a. A is the area, and that's it. Okay, that's it. So you can say that is equal to mu naught n square a into L. A is nothing but the area, a into L, and I. If you compare equation 1, let's say equation 1, this is equation 2, then the value of L, or value of self inductance is denoted by L. The value of self inductance is n square a into L. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay, mean to say that the value of, now if you want to find the value of induced EMF, in this case, induced EMF will be minus L di by dt. Okay, are you able to understand? I is current, because we have replaced d phi by dt into L into di by dt. Are you able to understand my point or not? If induced EMF, because phi is equal to L into I, mean to say that here in this case, mean to say that if you increasing the current in this coil, then induced EMF will set up in this coil, which will try to change the impact of this particular current. The induced EMF will try to oppose the current. Are you able to understand my point or not? This is the basic conceptual clarity. Okay, in the coil, mean to say that if this particular current I is increasing with respect to time, then this induced EMF will set up in such a way it will try to reduce the current. Then this particular I induced will be produced in the opposite direction. Are you able to understand my point? Now, if you placed two coils together and you have to find the value of induced EMF, let's say there are two coils. This is coil 1 and this is coil, and let's say this is coil 2. Are you able to understand my point or not? There are two coils. Okay, and the main aim is to find the value of induced EMF. Let's say in C1, this is C2, you have to find the value of, and all here the total number of turns, N2 and all the things. Okay, so here what we have to do, you have to find the value of induced EMF in coil 1. The aim is to find the value of induced EMF of coil 1. Then induced EMF in coil 1 will take place. Induced EMF in coil 1 will take place first with the help of C2 if I2 current is passing through this particular coil, and let's say I1 is passing through this particular coil I1. Then this induced EMF will take place first with the help of mutual inductance, and second with the help of self-inductance. Let's say L is the value of self-inductance and M is the value of mutual inductance. Then what will be the value of induced EMF? Minus L di1 by dt minus M, or minus M12 because M12 is equal to M21 di2 by dt. In this way, you can find the value of induced EMF in coil 1 when there is coil 2 is also present. Okay, are you able to understand my point or not? Are you able to understand the basic? Because we have find an alternate way to find the value of magnetic flux, because mutual inductance and self inductance are based on or depend upon the geometry, shape and intrinsic properties. So these particular values can be, because these particular values can already be defined. You have to just put the setup and just find the value of induced EMF. Or you have not all the time find the value of magnetic flux. You have all the time, you not have to find the value of magnetic flux. Okay, that will increase your calculation part. So this is basically is nothing but to make things easier for you. Self inductance and mutual inductance will help you indirectly to calculate the value of magnetic flux. Are you able to understand my point or not? Okay. Next thing is you can say next thing is to find the value of energy stored in a inductor. Energy stored in an inductor. Energy stored in an inductor. Let's say I1 current is passing through coil 1. Let's say I1 current is moving in coil 1. Okay, and if I1 current is moving in coil C1, then the induced EMF will try to flow a current opposite to the direction of I1. Mean to say that if you want to flow a steady current I1 through the coil C1, then you have to apply the external work. If you don't apply that external work, then what will happen? Then the I1 will decrease, because induced EMF will try to produce a current opposite to the direction of I1. To maintain the value of I1, you have to apply the external work done. And that particular external work done will store in the form of potential energy, or you can say energy stored in an inductor. So the value of work done, let's say dW by dt is nothing but power, and we know that power is nothing but V into I. V into I means induced EMF into I. dW by dt, you can write L di by dt into I. dt and dt will cut each other, and total work done will be, or energy is equal to integration of dW is equal to 0 to I to maintain the current. L is constant, di into di, just integrate this, you will get the value of half Li square. This is stored in the form of you can say stored in the form of potential energy, or you can say energy stored in a conductor, you can say inductor, energy stored in an inductor. Are you able to understand my point or not? And this particular inductor is nothing but it is just like a moment of inertia which tried to oppose the motion, or you can say you can relate it also with the mass, okay, which will try to oppose the current. And here the same, this particular inductor is also, the inductance is also try to oppose the current, in coil C1. Are you able to understand my point or not? Next is just a relation. Obtain the expression for the magnetic energy stored in a solenoid in terms of magnetic field, area and length of the solenoid. How does this magnetic energy compare with the electrostatic energy stored in a capacitor? Okay, so here the magnetic you can say the potential energy stored in a solenoid is nothing but just be half Li square. Okay, now you can half, you can put the value of inductance. You can put the value of inductance, and the value of inductance is mu naught n square area into length into I. You can also find the value of B is basically nothing but mu naught n into I. So that will be magnetic field divided by mu naught into n. Magnetic field into n, because in case of solenoid, the value of magnetic field is nothing but mu naught n into I. Now just solve this. You will get half, and here square, you will get n square and n square will cut each other. You will get b square divided by mu naught into A into L. A into L is nothing but the volume of the solenoid. Okay, and in case of capacitor, we have derived the relation energy. In case of capacitor, we have derived the relation 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square into AL. E square into AL. Okay, you can relate these relations, or you can say that the relations are looking similar, because in analogy we have discussed that mu naught is nothing but 1 by epsilon naught. Just these note are same, but in case if you want to you can say find the similarities between energy stored in you can say inductor and energy stored in a capacitor. Energy stored in a solenoid, okay, in the form of half Li square, and compare it with the energy stored in a capacitor. Energy stored in a capacitor, you will find so many similarities. Okay, so that's all about the second part of this particular chapter. Okay, I will try to cover this particular chapter in next part. The remaining topic is AC generator and the exercise questions. Okay, so I hope you are getting all the concepts very clearly. So thank you so much. Keep practicing. Namaskar and take care. Have a nice time.